So you have $300,000 that you're trying to invest right now, and you're trying to determine, should I put it towards an Airbnb or should I put it in the stock market? Or maybe you already have it in the stock market and you're trying to decide if you should take it out of the stock market and put it towards an Airbnb. Well, in this video, we're going to walk through the real numbers to see what it would look like over a 10-year period if you were to keep that money in the stock market or put it into the stock market, or if you were to put it towards an Airbnb. We're going to break down all the numbers. Let's get into it. All right, so to set the stage, we need to make sure that we're using a real property as an example and then understanding what our inputs are so we can figure out what the outputs are going to be. I'm going to share this sheet with you down below, so if you want to rip it apart, go for it. I could care less, right? But these are the numbers that I used for this analysis, all right? This is a real property that we are showing our clients as of today. It's a purchase price of $779,000. I'll break down all these numbers in just a second. Some of the key things I want to show you just on the underwriting sheet is that we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff to this property to make it a very desirable Airbnb. A lot of money going towards amenities and design, things along those lines. Even fees for people to help set these properties up and get them up and going. Now, additionally, the revenue on this property is going to be somewhere between $130,000 and $170,000 a year. And that matters. I want to explain that because there's cash flow that can be coming from this between $24,000 and $60,000. I'm going to be using the mid numbers for this scenario. Okay. Lastly, there are tax savings that come along with Airbnbs. And if you're not familiar with them, you got to get familiar with them if you're trying to compare these two side by side. It's called the STR tax loophole. I'm not going to explain it in this video. There's other videos that I have on my channel that you can check out, but we are going to be using this as part of the analysis. Now, I started off showing you the Airbnb underwriting only because I wanted to show you the total money invested, right? So the total amount of money that has to come out of the bank account and go towards the property to turn it into an Airbnb that's a functioning, running business. We want to use that exact same number as the number that we're investing into the stock market. Now, figuring out how much money you would make in the stock market is not that hard. I'm going to use iShares by BlackRock, which is an ETF, to be able to show what you could realistically make over the next 10 years. And it's a projection based on how the stock market has done, but it gives us a general idea of where you could end up if you took that money and put it towards the S&P 500. It's fairly simple breakdown, right? We put $293,770 as the initial investment. Our monthly contribution is going to be $1. I couldn't make it zero. They don't let zero. And we're going to do this for 10 years. Okay. And again, S&P 500, the average is going to be 8.59%. What you're seeing right here is the total number after 10 years, which is $669,925, which is $669,925. Now, what you have to keep in mind is that this includes the total amount that we contributed and then the gain. So let's break that down to figure exactly how much you gained over that 10-year period. So we started off with investing $293,000. We obviously put that extra $1, but we're just going to ignore that for now. And over a 10-year period, that money is now $669,000. The difference between those two is $376,000. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that you did nothing. You did absolutely no work. You put the money into the account and then you just forgot about it. Okay, you went on with your daily life. You had no money coming out to you. You just let it be, and then you go and check your account in 10 years and you've gained $376,000. That's how we're going to be thinking about the stock market investment, okay? Because it's going to matter when we want to compare these two side by side. Now, let's go look at the Airbnb and see what that looks like over 10 years. So here are all of our inputs, and we need to know all of our inputs to be able to figure out what it's going to be at the end. The first thing we got to point out here is that, and we have to know all of our inputs to know what we would be at after a 10-year period. So the first thing is that we're buying this property at $779,000. We're putting 10% down. That does matter because that's money that is locked in the property. We're going to invest a total amount of $293,000. The cash flow from this property is going to be, in the mid scenario, $42,000. I'm going to assume that some years are going to be better and some years are going to be worse, but we're going to use $42,000. Additionally, we're going to use an appreciation of 3%, meaning that year over year, the property is going to become more valuable by 3%. And I'm using 3% because that's the average across all of America. I know places where over a 25-year period, it's 6.5%, but I'm just using 3% because that's the norm. Additionally, we're going to have principal pay down. So as people are renting out the property and we make money from that, we use that money to then pay the mortgage. And as we do that over time, we're paying down the principal, which then comes back to us. And when we sell the property, we are able to capture that back. And then lastly, we're going to be talking about the tax savings. And we're assuming you're going to be in the 37% tax bracket for this scenario. And in that scenario, in year one, if you follow all of the rules and qualify for the STR tax loophole, then you'll be able to save just over $100,000. This is money that you would have had to give into the government if you did put your money towards the stock market, you would have not received this $100,000 or been able to keep this $100,000. You would have had to pay this amount of money. And so this is considered a return because you get to keep it rather than it going away. Okay, so now that we've reviewed all these inputs, what does this look like after 10 years? Well, what you can see is that the property went from $779,000 just over $1 million. Additionally, that 10% is about $78,000. Again, that's money that is locked in the property, but it needs to be considered in this scenario because it's not gone forever. When you sell the property, you get that back. The cash flow over a 10-year period, again, $42,000 a year. You add that up over 10 years, you're at $423,000. That's a lot of money over that 10-year period. And keep in mind, this is money that you're receiving that you could actually invest into other things over this 10-year period. Now, I didn't consider that in this scenario, but that is a part of that. Additionally, even this tax savings is money that you could be using towards other investments, right? You receive that in year one. Like, you don't have to give it to the government. Therefore, it stays in your account. If it stays in your account, you can do whatever you want with it. You could take that money and put it in the stock market if you wanted to, or buy another Airbnb, or go invest it into anything you want to. And the cash flow is very similar to that. We have over $400,000 that we are receiving that we can put towards other stuff. Now, there may be taxes on this $400,000. Everyone's tax situation is different, and I'm not considering that in this scenario, but it is something to keep in mind as well. So that's a lot of cash flow that we would have received over a 10-year period. Additionally, the property has appreciated by $267,000, right? We went from $779 to just over $1 million. That's an appreciation of $267,000. That money is locked in the property. You only see it if you sell the property, but it's still a part of your net worth. Additionally, the same thing is true for principal paid out. You have $140,000 of principal that you've paid back on your mortgage, that if you're to sell that property, you're able to recapture that. So with all that being said, okay, we started off with $293,000. After 10 years, that money has grown to just over $1 million. The gain over that 10-year period is $716,000. Again, compare that to the stock market. The stock market was at $376,000. The Airbnb is at $716,000. Now, there's one way I always like to think about this, which is money inside the property compared to money outside the property. Money that is locked inside that property that you can only capture if you sell the property, whereas money that you've actually been receiving outside that's going directly to your bank account. So the money locked inside the property is $485,000. You're only going to see this when you sell. However, the money outside of the property is just over $500,000. And again, in this scenario, I can't stress this enough. I did not assume what it would be like if you actually took that money and invested it into something else, because that's going to create layers and layers and layers of more confusion. But what we can say is that this money outside of the property, the $500,000, could have been invested into other things, creating even more gains over a 10-year period. Regardless of what it would have been invested in, we just know that it would have been giving you more, which would have made this investment an even better investment in the grand scheme of things if you were to compare the two together. And now it's pretty obvious which of these two returns is going to give you more capital, right? The Airbnb is very clearly going to make you more money if you bought the right Airbnb in the right area, set it up well, and managed it well. And that's the key thing here, managed it well, because when you put your money into the stock market, you don't have to do anything. You could fall asleep for 10 years and wake up and you would have just made $300,000. But with the Airbnb, you have to manage it. You have to take care of it. It's a home. Houses, things break in homes all the time. Therefore, you've got to get those things fixed. There's headaches that you're going to deal with. All of these things are reality of managing an Airbnb that you just have to deal with if you want the outsized returns. And so it wouldn't be a fair comparison if I didn't bring this up, because again, investing into the stock market takes zero amount of your time, whereas investing into an Airbnb will take a lot more of your time. And so I think it matters a lot more about who you are as a person in comparison to what the total dollar amount is at the end. Of course, anyone who wants to make more money is going to put in the extra work and they're going to make that happen. But other people are like, I don't want to do this at all. I have zero desire. I don't want to try and figure it out. It's too risky, whatever it may be. Let me just put my money in the stock market and I'm going to be happy with that. They're just not investors. They don't care about that stuff. They don't care about trying to figure out Airbnbs and try and save on taxes or anything like that. And that's totally fine. The vast majority of people fall into that category. But for the few that fall outside of that category, that don't want to pay the money in taxes, want to be able to create consistent cash flow, want to use the money from the tax savings and the cash flow to put into more investments investments to be able to continue to build up their net worth, and they're willing to put in the time, the effort, and whatever it takes to be able to make that happen, it's very clearly that an Airbnb makes far more sense when you break these down side by side over a 10-year period. Imagine this over 20, 30, 40 years, right? Of that compound of continuing to use that money outside of the property to build up more and more net worth, more value, more real estate, whatever you want to invest in. It just continues to compound faster, and money loves speed. So with all that being said, it's not as black and white as some people may think it is, where it's like, why would you ever invest in the stock market? That's not the case. Some people it totally makes sense, but for other people, it is truly black and white of which one is a better investment. And with all that being said, I hope this was helpful. I hope it gave you some clarity, and now you know how to take that $300,000 and actually go invest it.